So, Kevin, explain what this kit is and what it does.
Well, basically, this is what we call a Real Green Garage compliance and training kit. The idea behind it is, if you're a shop owner or manager, you're running any facility where you got to clean and you got oil pollution. The problem is, for you to figure out how to become compliant with all the regulations, federal, municipal, state regulations, I mean, you can basically go nuts. Or you can hire a consultant that'll charge you $5 grand to come and tell you all the things you got to comply with, and then you still got to figure out the technology. So my idea was to make it really easy for shop owners. I put everything together in one kit, and they learn the technology, and then you become compliant by default. So in other words, the easiest way to become compliant with all the regulations is to actually exceed them by using superior technology. So what you get in the kit, basically, there's 3 basic issues. You want to replace all your toxic cleaners and solvents. That's how you get your workman's comp and so on covered. So what we did is we give you a 5-liter pail, or 20-liter pail, 5-gallon pail of oil lift, and that will replace all your cleaners for your floors, your walls, washing cars, uniforms, whatever. You take that and you put it into this big 45-gallon drum. So this is a lockhead drum. And the idea is, the reason for doing this is you pre-dilute it. And then you issue these 1 quart or 1 liter bottles out to your guys, and then they just fill from the head. So it ends up costing you less than 70 cents a quart to have industrial strength, eco-certified cleaner. So that reduces your operating costs and protects you against fines. The second part of the kit is what we call dry oil spill cleaner. This is our Flubber-Dust product. Now this is designed to replace all your kitty litter and floor dry and those types of product. What it does is when you spill oil on a dry floor, it's just oil, no water involved, you sprinkle it down, you rub it with your foot, you sweep it up, and you throw it in a container like that. Have a look at that container. Last week, before we recycled it, now this is the cool part, that was solid oil sludge. And this is why it's really important to end the waste pollution stream. When you use Flubber-Dust, all you do is heat it in the sun, it splits the oil molecule, and you use it all over again. So you just keep heating it, putting it back in the pail, and the guys use it again and again and again. And so you massively reduce your operating costs, and you're totally compliant. Now the third part of the kit that's really interesting, we have these kits with and without, because different shops have different requirements. These are our super absorbent polymer booms. This is the most cost-effective oil absorbent for water spills that are available. You use these 2 ways. One, you use them in an emergency situation where it's raining outside, you got oil going down, you put this down, it just grabs all the oil. One of these booms will go from 6 pounds up to 30 pounds of solid oil. It would take about 20 to 30 of the other types of booms to do that. So dollar per dollar, they're the most cost effective on the market. The second part of using these, though, is you can tie them up. You just tie them into a knot, put them on a string, and they float, and you put it in your storm drain where you're getting oil runoff, and it actually peels up all the oil. So you can also use it around equipment and things like that. It's a preventive maintenance. So if the enforcement people show up and they say, well, there's oil going down the drain, you pull out your boom and go, no, there isn't. And one of these booms, of course, because of its absorbency, they last a long time. I have facilities where they have oil drop-off points that have had these booms out for over 3 years.
What do you do with the booms after they've collected the oil?
Well, the cool part about these booms, because they don't release the oil, they basically turn into like a rubber, essentially. It's not really rubber, but it's close to it. You can either put them into fuel kilns and burn them, which kicks up the BTU, so it becomes fuel. We're not doing it yet, but we're going to start soon, is we recycle them into asphalt. You can just melt this into asphalt and it rubberizes the roads. Or it can go to a secured landfill or a hazmat. And it only costs, for a whole drum of it, only costs $150. So there's a massive savings. Whereas if you were to use a polypropylene or a natural fiber boom, you'd end up with 20 drums compared to 1. So it pays for itself. So anyway, the whole idea is you tie the 3 things together, you train your staff on how to use each one so they know the procedure. We call those best management practices. And guess what? You're now compliant with over 90% of the regulations by default, and you didn't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars. And by the way, it all ships into one kit. We pack it all in the boom, we pick it up, we send it out to you, you go through each part, and that's it. We're saving you thousands of dollars. So every shop, really, there's no excuse not to green your shop anymore, because it's actually cheaper than polluting. So yeah, so that's how the whole program works.
Thanks a lot, Kevin.